Hey, everybody. If you've been following along, it's day 17. So if you've been doing the journey along with us, the 30-day yoga journey, then we are in it. So I thought tonight it would be nice to do a more of a typical restorative class. And just get into some of these postures a little bit and stretch out a little bit more. Not as much of the active crunches, a little bit, but not too much. So if you don't already have helpful, I think, especially in restorative yoga, but also in just getting to where you want to be as far as your flexibility. I think it's helpful to use props. We are not all just gonna splay open in these postures. So it takes time and it takes continuous practice to get there. So I think using props, it doesn't make you weak, and it doesn't mean that you're not flexible, you're not good at yoga. It's just you're helping your body to start to adjust into some of these postures. So I'm going to try to show a little bit more of that tonight. I'm actually going to have us start in a supported posture. Before I do that, last week, someone asked about stretches for plantar fasciitis, and I wanted to just touch on that real quick because I didn't get to it because I didn't see the message until we were off. So toes pose is a really good one for that, but it's also really intense. So in plantar fasciitis, you get inflammation right here, sort of under the heel in this thick band of tissue that connects your heel to the toes. And it sometimes gets really inflamed. It's pretty common. So toes pose is nice for that, but it's also, I think for some people, it's too intense when you have that pain to sit on your toes. So another way to get at that is to use a wall and then just put your hands on the wall and then bracing with one leg, with the opposite leg, the affected foot, I would say, then you're just going to stretch that heel. And that way you have a little bit more control over how much you're getting at that tissue underneath. So sometimes putting all of your weight down is too much, but stretching that way is easier for people. So those are two different ways you can come at that. And we do some of that just in some of our flows with toes pose and warrior. And hi, Janelle. Oh, I can actually see the chat tonight. So we're like eons beyond when I first tried to do this live on YouTube a few weeks ago. So, okay. So grab your pillows and your blanket. You can use 2 pillows, 2 blankets, whatever you have. There is something nice, even though we're all apart. It's kind of nice to just know that you're practicing with other people at the same time. So we're starting a little bit different. It's not your typical easy seat. You're going to start with the soles of the feet together. And again, this can be super intense for some people. So this is where I think the props are helpful. Don't try to force yourself to have your legs come all the way out and then be sitting there the whole time thinking, oh my gosh, when is she going to tell me I can stop this? Instead, really sort of use props. Even if you have to make a stack of pillows, it's fine. It's whatever you need to be able to settle into the posture, because the goal here is to let the knees relax toward the floor. So if you need a little more support in order for the knees to be able to relax out, then that's what you do. Hi, Talisa. So I'm feeling a little nostalgic now for our Sunday nights at the studio. So we're starting here. This is Buddha Konasana. So you're making almost like this little diamond shape in your inner area here. And the knees come out toward the sides. And then see if you can start to do a little check-in with your breath, your alignment, your posture, all the stuff. Whatever you're showing up with Tonight's intention is to reset. So really think about that. It's kind of, it's why I'm nostalgic, I think, because it's kind of what our Sunday nights always were at the studio. I think for not just me, but all of us who did our routine Sunday night practice, and whoever has started to practice with us now, I think we don't even realize how much it becomes something that helps to reset, refocus, center. For me, it's probably the only time that I really allow myself to do that. So let this next 45 minutes to an hour, depending on how long I talk, let this be about you, your body. Check out of the thinking mind here. So really see if you can start to reset. And then tune into where your tension is today. So is it in the shoulders? Is it in the hips? Are you feeling it somewhere else? And then try to just let everything come down, back, relax, keeping the spine straight, imagining that there's a string pulling your head up toward the ceiling so your neck is long. And your hands can be wherever it feels good. You can have them on your feet, on your knees. It might help you here to kind of get into the breath, to put your hands over your abdomen and just start to really deepen the inhale. It helps me to just feel the expansion on the inhale and really try to slow it down. So maybe even think to yourself to a count of 6 or 8 just for the first few cycles, just to get into that rhythmic, slow breath, which is really important. This part, it's not the part to skip. This is the part where you tune in, reset. And if you find during the practice that your mind starts to wander, then come back to the intention of resetting yourself, come back to your breath, maybe come back to those counts of 6 or 8, whatever works for you to help keep you centered. But try to be here in the present and not spinning through all the stuff you have to do tomorrow. None of that is changing between now and an hour from now. So just let it go for the next little while. And then see how you feel after. My hope is that one day we all will be in a studio together. Although this is nice because I know there are some of you that are practicing that are not even in this state, which is awesome. So there's that aspect. There's the silver lining to all of it. Okay, take a couple more really big, deep inhales and exhales. And we're just going to start to introduce a little bit of neck stretching here. So as you exhale on the next exhale, let that down toward the right shoulder. And then make sure to stay in tune with your alignment here. So keeping the shoulders down and back. If they start to roll forward, you're not going to get that same benefit of the stretch on the left. So keeping the shoulders down and back, right ear, right shoulder. And you can play with adding in that extension of the left arm. So sending the left arm out and then making this little stop sign with your hand. And you can start to sort of lift it up and back until you feel this really big, deep stretch in the underarm. I do this a lot if you're following along in the videos. It's just a really good, deep neck stretch. And then exhale, you can bring that hand back in and then roll the chin to the chest. So allowing the chin to really get heavy toward the chest so that you're getting that nice deep stretch in the back of your neck. Take a couple really big deep breaths here. Keeping the shoulders down and back. Again, if your shoulders start to roll forward, you're not going to get that same benefit. So keeping the shoulders down and back. And then exhale, we'll bring the left ear to the left shoulder this time. I almost started already messing up my lefts and rights. It's been what, like 5 minutes? Just roll with it, you guys. As you exhale, let that left ear come down toward the left shoulder a little more, keeping the shoulders down and back. And then you can reach that right arm out now, making that little stop sign sensation. And then sort of lift it up and back until you feel that nice big deep sensation. It should really kind of goes all the way from your jawline all the way down your arm, if you find it. So, and if you don't find it right away, then play around with your posture and just until you'll feel it. You'll know when you get there, you'll feel it. And once you're there, as you exhale, can you let that left ear come down a little further toward your shoulder? One more big inhale. And then exhale, let the hand come back down, and then we'll bring the chin all the way back to center. So chin to chest again, but this time using the hands, interlace the hands behind the head, and then not pushing, but just guiding, keeping the elbows toward opposite walls, just guiding the chin down a little further. So you're deepening that stretch. Keep the shoulders down and back as you're doing this. And then we're going to add a little here. So I don't think we've done this before in any of the videos, but we're going to just take almost like a little cat posture here. So round out the spine, curl in. And then inhale, open it up. And so you're taking almost like a little cat-cow, but in a seated posture. So keep with that rhythmic breath. Roll in. Inhale, come up, and then little tiny back bend, lifting the chin. One more of those. And then we'll let the hands come back down. You're going to move your props. Put them nearby, though. We're going to be using them. And we'll extend the legs out to either side. And then play with this first. So rather than just sort of getting into this, see if you can play with how much you're able to get here in a stretch, in a little bit of an extension. So both legs are extended to either side to where your edge is. So you want to try to sort of feel out where is your flexibility here. You don't want to be so comfortable that you're not feeling a stretch here, but you also don't want it to feel uncomfortable to the point of you can't settle into it. So find that spot, which is your edge. And then extend the legs out. Both feet are flexed, so toes pointed toward the ceiling, and we're coming down onto the forearms. Now here is where you might want props again. So it can feel really nice if you're not feeling like you have it in you to go down really deep into this today, but you want to be able to settle in. Then take your pillow, take your blanket, and you use that to support you. Because this is restorative. So you want to get into a place where you can settle in here. Or if you want to get in a little deeper, if you feel like you need a little more, then just skip the props and just settle down onto the forearms as far as you can go. Tune back in with the breath wherever you are. And every exhale, can you get a little heavier? Can you settle in? If you're on your pillow, your bolster, can you settle into it a little more? And if you're on your forearms, can you come a little lower every exhale? And no, there's nothing wrong with your TV. I'm really being quiet right now. Just breathe into the spaces here and let yourself get heavier with every exhale. 2 more. We're going to take a little longer in some of these tonight. And then we're going to walk the hands or the forearms, or if you have your stuff, you're going to move your stuff. We're going to come over toward that left leg now. So you can use your stuff here still to support you. Or if you're just using your forearms here, you can just walk the forearms over and just switching up the stretch a little. So just leaning into that left side a little. So you're just deepening that stretch till you feel it. Keeping the feet flexed. That's important. So you're going to feel this more flexed. And we're breathing here. We're not losing our alignment elsewhere. So even though we're leaning into the left here, right leg is extended, right foot is flexed, shoulders are down and back, you're not losing anything here. And then get heavy with every exhale. And then we'll walk the forearms all the way over to the right now. Or if you're using your props, same thing. You're going to set your props up right in front of you here toward the right side now. And take that time to settle in. So bring the shoulders down and back. Set yourself up until you feel that stretch. And we're going to take 2 more really big, deep inhales and exhales here. Really getting into the hips tonight in some of these. Come all the way back up. And then we're going to set up for our side body stretches, which I do a lot. So you may have an idea of where I'm going. Bring that left foot in. We'll start with the right. So that left foot is pressed up against the right inner thigh. Right leg is extended, right foot is flexed. And then you're just going to adjust, make sure everything is where you want it. So roll the shoulders down and back, spine is long, neck is long, head reaches up toward the ceiling. And then here's another place where you can use your props. So if you feel like it would help you to be able to get deeper into this, you can put the pillows this way, or you can also put them this way, lengthwise, the way we had it in our last posture. Wherever you're going with it, set yourself up so that you can settle into it. So take what you need from it. And maybe today you need more of a restorative, more of a supported posture, and you want to be able to settle into this. Or maybe it feels better to you to try to deepen your stretch tonight. So just take what you're needing from it. It really depends on what stuff you're showing up with, what you're trying to let go of, how deep you feel like getting, how tired you are today. So if you want to make this whole thing relaxed and restorative, then totally go for it, because this is your time. So when you're ready, we're going to reach the arms all the way up toward the ceiling, and then we're folding over either our pillows or our leg. The trick here is keeping that left knee down toward the yoga mat. So as you're reaching toward the right here or leaning into the right, that left knee starts to creep up. So keep it down and you're going to get more of an opening there in the left side. Find a place where you can settle in and breathe. Come back to those really long, deep inhales. Maybe come back to the count if you need to reset. Music really helps me. You probably noticed if you follow along, I always have my ear pods in. I find aromatherapy really helps. There's lots of different things that can help you sort of get into your yoga mood. And as you exhale, can you get a little heavier? Can you deepen that stretch just a little bit more? And then inhale, come all the way back up. And we're switching sides. So if you're using your props, then just move everything over. Bring that left foot in, right leg extends out. So your right foot is coming into your left inner thigh. It is what it is. You're making all your little adjustments so that you set yourself up to get the most out of this. So spine is straight, shoulders are down and back. Grab your props if you're using them. And I will set up that way this time just to show you. And then inhale, reach the arms all the way up. Exhale, we're folding over. And this is where it may feel nice to you to have some support to come down onto something, because it may allow you to relax into this more, which then allows this right hip area to open up more. So it isn't about how far down can I go. It's really about what you're getting out of it ultimately. And as you exhale, get a little heavier. Really deep inhale, really deep exhale. Coming back to that breath we started with. It feels different when you're in a forward fold like this. You can feel the back of the rib cage expand if you're paying attention, if you notice. So take this time, get out of your head, and just focus on the sensations you feel. Two more really big inhales and exhales. Then come all the way back up. And we're going to meet on hands and knees. This is another place where it can be helpful if you have sensitive knees, or I feel like even sensitive hips may benefit from this. Fold your blanket and just put it under your knees. So you're just giving yourself a little added support. So just another option of a way you can modify things to make it a little more comfortable. Because the more you're able to allow yourself to relax into the posture, the more you're going to get out of it. So if you're sitting there, feeling frustrated and trying to hold it, you're not going to get as much out of it. So set up in tabletop position, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. You're spreading the fingertips wide. So you want a nice wide base for your foundation. So you're not going to get as much balance if you have your hands like this than if you have your hands like this. So your spine is one long straight line as best as you can make it. And then neck is long. And we're going to come into some cat-cow here. So inhale, drop the belly, chin comes up, tailbone comes up. And really feel this. So exhale, round it out, tuck the chin, tuck the tailbone in. Imagine that you're an angry cat or a shrimp, an angry CAT, not me. This is when I feel weird, when I'm laughing by myself with a camera. Stick with your own breath here with your cat cows. And I encourage you to close your eyes, really feel it, because you can start to get into some of those areas that are a little tighter, like maybe your right hip is tighter than your left. So close your eyes and see if you can feel it out a little. And then maybe we add to this. So on your next inhale, we're going to dip the hips toward the right heel, roll back, and then exhale, bring it forward. So maybe stick with that cycle. And if, as you're coming around, if you find a place that's really tight, so like here for me, this part of my left hip is sore. So I'm just hanging out here for a breath or two to just stretch it out. So figure out what feels good for you in this. It's a little different for everybody. And maybe reverse your little circle that you're doing. Wherever you are, come back to your tabletop. We're going to take a little like mini crunch here, just because I have to. I wouldn't be doing you justice if I didn't. So we're going to lift that right leg up. So your foot is going to be flexed toward the ceiling, but we're not going to lift the arm here. We're just going to do this with the leg. So you're going to inhale, bring that knee in toward your chest. Exhale, back up. 2 more. Inhale, bring it in. Exhale, back up. 1 more. Inhale, bring it in. Exhale, back up. Awesome. Bring it down. Switch sides. So same thing. We're going to lift the knee. Foot is flexed toward the ceiling. Find your balance. And then inhale, bring it in. Exhale, back out. Inhale, bring it in. Exhale, back out. Inhale, bring it in. Exhale, back out. And then bring the big toes together, knees as wide as the yoga mat. I know you know where we're going. Come all the way back into an extended child's pose. And take what you need here. So if it feels good, you can make a little pillow with your forearms, or maybe it feels good to reach the arms all the way up toward the front. But wherever you get, settle in. Let the tailbone get really heavy toward the feet. Couple really big deep inhales and exhales here. And as you exhale, let the tailbone get heavier. If your arms are out front, really reach them toward the front of the mat. Really settle. And if you do have your head on your forearms, then maybe you roll back and forth, massage your forehead. So 1 more really big deep inhale. 1 more really big deep exhale. And then come back up. Bring the knees just back together as if you were going into your tabletop position. But now we're going to melt down into puppy pose. So you're melting the chest down. while keeping the tailbone up. This is really deep. So another place you might want props. And I lost my mic. There we go. Sorry. Okay. So it may be helpful here to try. I'm going to muffle my microphone here, but with your pillow. If you're not feeling like you can come all the way down. If you're feeling like you can come all the way down, then just melt that chest all the way down toward the mat, and you can have your head resting on the side or on the front on your temple, or you can really sort of settle in and rest the chin on the yoga mat so it kind of opens up that throat area. But again, find a place where you can settle. It's a big heart opener. One more big breath. And then come all the way back up into tabletop just to transition into our down dog. Just making sure my speaker's on. Okay. In your down dog, you can do a little check-in here. So drop the knees, bend the knees, I should say. Drop the belly so it's down on the thighs, and then extend the legs. And pedal it out here. Another place we can get into plantar fasciitis is right here in your down dog. So pedal it out. When I say that, extend one leg, bend the opposite knee, and switch. Maybe come up onto the toes, which can feel really good to stretch out the tops of the toes. Come all the way back down. We're going to set up for pigeon. I do like to offer as an alternative if you're not a pigeon person. You can come all the way down onto your back. And pigeon is not for everybody. It's really intense. It gets very deep into the hip flexor. And some people, it's very uncomfortable. If you're one of those people, you can cross ankle over knee, whichever side. So here I'm starting with the right, and then you can interlace the hands behind the thigh and push that right knee away as you pull the left thigh in. So you're still getting a stretch in the hip flexor, but it's more controlled than when you're in pigeon. So this is an option if pigeon is not in your practice. Otherwise, meet me in down dog. And we're kicking that right leg all the way up toward the ceiling. Open the hip. So when I say open the hip, you're going to kick that right foot toward the opposite wall, but you're not letting the whole body go that way. You're keeping the spine straight, keeping the weight balanced between both palms. Breathe. And on the next exhale, knee comes between the palms. You're lowering down onto that left hip. Extend the left leg out as far as it will go. And then position your foot here on the right side where it feels like you're getting a stretch, so it's not totally comfortable, but it's not painful either. So find your sweet spot. Bring the shoulders down and back. Check in with your alignment. And here's where props may be helpful, which I should have said earlier, but have them nearby for this whole time. So you can bring them, the pillow and the blanket, toward you here so that you can lower down and take a supported posture here. If it feels better to you to stay up, you can stay up. If it feels better to you to not use props, try it that way. Wherever you are going with it, find a place where you can settle in. This is one of those poses that takes time to work. And if you're in figure 4, you can breathe through this side with us and then switch when we switch to the other side. So try to come back to those really big, deep inhales and exhales that we started with. When we get into postures like this, we commonly hold things. So you get into it and then you just kind of hold everything until it's time to get out. So try not to do that. So actively try to check out of the thinking mind. Try to relax everything down as you exhale. Can that left foot come down a little further toward the end of the mat? Can you get a little heavier? And I think it's helpful here to use props because it gives you that support to just be able to relax into this a little more. 2 more really big, deep inhales and exhales here. And then when you're complete, we'll come back up if you came down. So come up a little slow, kind of work your way back up, push so bring the shoulders down and back, push down into the palms, tuck the toes on the left side, and you're going to use that support of pushing into your palms to kick that right leg all the way back up. Open the hip again. Bring that leg down. Humor me. Pedal it out for a second here and see if you notice a difference from one side to the other. We hold on to so much emotional tension in our hips. I think pigeon is like magical. So when you're ready, we'll kick that left leg all the way up toward the ceiling, taking it to the other side. Open the hip, keeping the weight evenly distributed between both palms. Breathe. Exhale, knee comes between the palms. Right leg extends all the way back behind you. And set yourself up. So find that space where you feel the stretch, but it's not so uncomfortable that you can't stay here. And then inhale, bring the shoulders down and back. Exhale, you can bring it down. And again, find that sweet spot where you can settle in, because this pose does its work by us allowing ourselves to relax into it. So So try not to let your breath be quick here, but really go back to those really deep inhales and exhales. As you exhale, can you let that right leg extend down a little further toward the end of the yoga mat? Maybe you can scooch that left leg up a little further, just deepening that stretch in little bits at a time. Two more really deep inhales and exhales here. Make them count. And then inhale when you're complete. Come all the way back up onto the palms. And again, find your alignment. Bring the shoulders down and back. Tuck the toes. Push down into the palms. Use that to support the weight of pushing that left leg all the way up. Open the hip. Bring that leg back down. We're going to come down onto the knees, cross the legs, and we're just coming down onto our backs. Have your pillow and blanket nearby. So coming onto the back with the feet flat on the mat, knees pointed toward the ceiling. Find your alignment first. Start with, we're going to take a little supported twist here. So starting with the pillow and the blanket right on the right side of your body. So right next to where your knee is, your right knee. So get yourself all set up. Shoulders are nice and flat on the yoga mat. You're going to take the arms, extend them out to the side like a T. Take a really big, deep inhale. And then as you exhale, let the knees fall toward the right onto those pillows. It's a super supported twist. But by using that support, see if you can start to relax your body. So rather than tensing up because the knees are wrenched too far, see if you can just allow the knees to fall down toward the pillows and relax the hips. And if it feels too supported, then try, one blanket or pillow, two blankets or pillows. Just figure out what you need. You might need a little more. You might need 3 pillows. Figure out what works in your body. And then check in. Are you holding this? Can you let everything get heavy? Usually if I say that, it's because I'm doing it myself. So none of us are perfect. One more really big, deep inhale. One more really deep exhale. And then bring the knees back up to center. Bring the pillow and blanket to the other side, or just the blanket or just the pillow. Figure out what you need. It may not be the same from one side to the other. So just figure out what works for you. When you're ready, arms out to the side in a T formation. And we're letting the knees fall to the left. And when you're still, if that's when your mind starts to get busy, again, check out of the thinking mind. Maybe deepen the inhale and exhale and really follow it. See where it goes. Come back to your intention of resetting. Two more really deep inhales and exhales here. And then on your next inhale, bring the knees back up to center. Move your props out of the way for the moment. You will still need them again. We're going to come into happy baby here. One of the other things that I miss about the studio is I had my straps, which we don't all have at home. I'm going to think about how we can make that work. But for today, we're going to come into happy baby here. So you're going to bring the knees all the way back toward your shoulder blades, so toward your armpits rather. Start here before kicking the feet up. So kind of the shoulders. Maybe rotate the ankles around, stretch the feet, get into some of the places we don't get into. Shoulder blades are nice and flat on the yoga mat. Neck is long. And then you're going to kick the feet up toward the ceiling. You can grab wherever it feels good. So maybe you hold on to the backs of the thighs. Maybe you hold on to the backs of the shins. Maybe you grab the sides of the feet. You can take peace fingers around the big toe. So figure out what feels good here. The idea is to start to, as you exhale, guide the knees down a little more. And you can rock back and forth on the tailbone here, which can feel really nice. You can, if you have your feet or you're up by your feet, you can massage your feet. I'm always looking for ways in yoga where we can give ourselves a little extra love, a little foot massage or whatever. When you're ready, you're going to keep that left foot in happy baby, but play with extending the right leg here. So maybe you can grab your foot and maybe you can extend it all the way out. Maybe you're looking at me and you're like, I'm nowhere even close to that. So just play with how it feels to start to kick that leg up toward your shoulder. Keeping that other leg in your half happy baby here. Breathe, and as you exhale, can you straighten that leg a little more? This is where the straps are super helpful because you can get a little more leverage. Inhale, bring that foot back up, bend that knee. We're switching sides. Exhale, play with it on the left. So keeping that right leg in, half happy baby, extending the left leg out. Really try to deepen your stretch a little here. And if you're nowhere near having this leg totally extended, just play with back of the thigh. You can even tap the back of the thighs. Sometimes that can help. And try to just extend that leg out a little more with every exhale. Little bits of space. Nothing happens overnight. One more really deep exhale. Bring that knee back in. So you're a happy baby once again, both sides. And then we'll use the hands, guide the knees in. Squeeze your knees in toward your chest. Give yourself a squeeze. And we're going to end with a supported child's pose. So roll on up, grab your props. Guys, I don't want to jinx it, but we haven't had any okay, good. I'm glad you're glad you're laughing with me. I haven't had any major technical issues. I should not say that out loud because a lamp is going to fall or something. Okay. So bring the big toes together, knees as wide as your yoga mat or as wide as it feels comfortable to you, and then bringing those props right in front of you now. This is how we're going to end. I encourage you to, if you have the time, take a little bit of an extended Shavasana here. So when I'm done talking, maybe stay here for 10 or 15 minutes and just kind of try to zen out a little. If you're getting ready for bed, maybe just go right to bed. So whatever is in your plan. So we'll come down into a child's pose over our support here. So you're going to reach the arms all the way up and then exhale. Come on down. I'm going to settle on my arms just so that I don't completely muffle the microphone. But try to let the tailbone get heavy. It probably feels a little different in your child's pose now than when we started. We definitely got into some of the hip stuff today. So see if you can take this intention off the mat, this intention of resetting. So maybe whatever stuff you brought with you, you were able to let go of some of that. And you just imagine, I always find it helpful to sort of use an imagery. So I always say write down all your stuff on an imaginary notepad and put it away for later. Here at our Sunday night restorative, imagine that you're just wiping off a wipe-off board, a dry erase board. You're just wiping all the stuff off and just start over. Reset, reprioritize. You're never stuck. You can reset and restart at any time. I think that's the bigger lesson off the mat. So if you're following along, tomorrow I will post day 18 of our 30 days of new intentions. You can stay where you are if you're going to stay in an extended Shavasana. I'm going to come up into an easy seat just to close this out with you. Thank you for tuning in and hanging out for our Sunday night yoga. I really hope that in the coming year, we'll be back in a studio space. But for now, thanks for sharing. Practice the way that we're able to. And you can check out we have playlists on Spotify, KatMula Wellness. It's really nice in the background going along with a practice like this. So bringing the thumbs to the heart center, The light in me honors the light in all of you. Thanks for practicing with me. Maybe you're going to hang out in Shavasana for a while. So if you are, good. Namaste. I'll see you tomorrow.